and welcome back to Standing Watch Talking Points. In the 70s, a song that came out which fits into what I want to talk about today, my subject, and the lyrics went something like this. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And that is so true. I mean, what is accomplished by war other than innocent people being killed? When you consider the carpet bombing that was done during the Second World War, where these huge bombers went over towns in Germany and just dropped bombs indiscriminately on the town. I mean, who died in that? Mostly innocent women and children, and a lot of men that were not even involved in the conflict. And the irony is, when you think of it, should a Christian fight in war? You've got to address this issue. I mean, during the Second World War, there could have been a German soldier, a Catholic, praying that God would give him victory, and on the other side, on the Allied side, there could have been an American Catholic praying for the same thing. Now, how does God answer that? Well, the truth is he's not involved in war, and he would answer neither one of them. And there was a total lack of understanding of whether or not a person should even be involved in war. Now, the first war ever recorded from a human point of view was the war between Cain and Abel. It was a war between two brothers where one killed the other. But as far as conflicts are concerned, from a historical point of view, I don't think there's been more than 100 years of peace around the earth. There's always war going on in one corner of the earth or the other, and usually 6 or 7 or perhaps up to a dozen conflicts at any given time. And look at the futility of war. The town of Fallujah in Iraq was taken by the Americans with great losses to their men. And look at, within the last couple of weeks, the town has been taken over by Al-Qaeda. So, I mean, what was the purpose of that? And look at the Vietnam War, where something like 500,000 Americans died in that nation, and yet, a couple of years after they were gone, the North took over the South anyway. So what was the purpose of that? It was just futile. Now, the book of James, the Apostle James, brings out an interesting point in regards to war, and he asks the questions, where do wars and fights come from? And he answers in verse 2 of chapter 4. He says, you lust and desire, and you have not. You murder and covet, and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you do not have, because you do not ask. Now, he's bringing out a good point. A lot of times wars are, a nation wants to covet the territory of another nation, so they go to war over it. A neighbor wants to covet his neighbor's property, so he kills him for it, type of an approach. Now, if you look at it from a prehistory type of war, the actual first war that ever broke out was between Satan and God's angels, and it's recorded in the book of Isaiah chapter 14. And this was the first war between angelic beings. But the irony is, the Revelation 12 talks about a second war in heaven with Satan and Michael and Michael's army, and Satan is cast back down to the earth. So it shows that, Satan hasn't learned nothing from his previous experiences. He doesn't learn from his mistakes. So we have a booklet, and it's called Should You Fight in War? And it's well written. It could be read in a very short period of time. It's well presented, and it's absolutely free, and there's no follow-up for money. So if you'd like to order this booklet, you can either email us at churchofgodacf@telus.net, or you can write for us at Church of God, a Christian Fellowship, Post Office Box 1480, Summerland, BC, VOH 1Z0. Now, another program I'd like to bring your attention to, and that program is called Standing Watch, and it's presented by Evangelist Norbert Link, and he talks about current events as they relate to biblical prophecy, and he discusses wars and earthquakes and famines and other disasters that we see, the cold that we see back east, the storms and the bad weather, and he puts it all together and makes sense of it and ties it into biblical prophecy. And these events have all been prophesied many, many years ago, thousands of years ago, by God's prophets and also by Jesus Christ himself. And Mr. Link ties it all in a logical and understanding manner. He also covers current topics in the news like Christian living and ties all these things into the biblical prophecies that are in the Bible. So do yourself a favor, listen to this very informative program which can be watched on video, and it's about 15 minutes long, and it can be watched at www.standingwatch.org. So if you'd like to order the booklets, Should You Fight in War, please email us at churchofgod@tellus.net or Church of God, a Christian Fellowship, Post Office Box 1480, Summerland, BC, VOH1Z0. And also don't forget to watch the Standing Watch program at www.standingwatch.org. So until next time, this is Rene Messier for the Standing Watch Talking Points.